evening, followed by who knows what for pudding." Eliza wiped her niece's tears and kissed her brow before putting away the dress she was working upon. "I've had Grace Elishaw in today, my love. She ordered a new dress from me, so that will keep the wolves from our door for another month or so. I must say I was ever so thankful. I didn't have much work on the books until she made her appearance." Eliza tidied her sewing away and reached for her shawl and bonnet and placed them both on as she watched Victoria looking gloomily out of the window. "In fact, it was so quiet that I made you this out of some old rags. I thought that it might cheer you up a little, although now you are nearly 9, you are perhaps getting too old for dolls." Eliza reached for a floppy rag doll from under her sewing, which she had quickly put together from scraps of leftover cloth. "She's got a real happy face and blue eyes." Eliza put her arm around her niece. "She's just short of a name. Can you think of one for her?" "She's lovely, Auntie. I'll call her Tilly, to remind me of Tilly Harrison, because I swear I will not let her bully me again. And whenever I look at my new doll, it will remind me to smile, because Tilly never does." Victoria held the doll tight and looked at it as it flopped over her arm, the face smiling at her from underneath the black wool Eliza had used for hair. "That's it. Never let anyone get the better of you. Think why they are being so nasty, and usually you'll find that they are either jealous or their lives are just downright terrible. There will always be Tilly Harrisons in the world, Victoria. We just have to learn to live with them. Now, let's go home and get the fire lit and the kettle on." Eliza guided Victoria through the door and locked the door of the small lean-to behind her before walking down the main street of Woodlesford with Victoria by her side. "I can't really promise caviar and salmon, but I think there's still a little blackberry jam left." "Did George come with Miss Grace to the shop?" Victoria asked Eliza as she quickly walked beside her. "No, he didn't. He'd be busy having lessons like you," Eliza said sharply. Victoria glanced up at Eliza. "George is too old to go to school. I like George. He always talks to me and sometimes even gives me a piece of spice." "He has a private tutor at home. Now, I don't want to hear another word about George Elishaw. He's best left alone. Besides, the Elishaws are far above us, my dear. He's only sweet to you because he thinks he's doing his bit in patronising the poor, which we all are to the likes of him. Indeed, I think that's the very reason why Grace and her friends order the odd dress or two from me." Eliza sighed. She was trying to guide her young niece through the many pitfalls of life, but just how well she was doing it only time would tell. The last thing she wanted was for Victoria to become too friendly with George Elishaw, who in her eyes was not at all like his sister, but showing more of the same traits as his heathen father, the way he flounced around in his own importance. Eliza sat next to the dwindling fire in her cottage at Pitt Lane. Victoria had been put to bed after having a supper of bread and the last of the jam, and now Eliza was left on her own with her thoughts and worries and an empty stomach. By the time the rent was paid and the coal bought and Victoria's needs seen to, there was precious money left, and she often found herself going without a meal for the sake of her niece. She yawned as she darned the near threadbare stockings for Victoria to wear the following day. They would have to suffice until she could afford a new pair. How she wished that her sister Mary Ann would send sufficient provisions for her young daughter, or perhaps return home and take her off her hands. She loved Victoria dearly, but when she had offered to be her guardian until she was sent for, she hadn't realised the hardship that it was going to bring to both their lives. The letters and moneys sent from Mary Ann were few and far between, with no mention of Victoria being sent to join her mother. It broke her heart to see Victoria give up hope on ever meeting her mother, let alone starting a new life in New York. It was always the same tale from her sister. John's next job.